When I found Marietta, I didn't just find a place to go to college. I found so much more than that.
I found friends. I found sports.
I found my passion.
I found family.
I found my calling. I found a place to call home. Discover what you can find at Marietta by visiting marietta.edu today.
So there you are. It's flu season, and you're over 65 like me. You might be forgetting something serious. Your annual flu shot. The flu can be life-threatening, especially if you have chronic conditions like diabetes and heart disease, which can worsen with the flu. The immune system weakens with age. Ask about a flu vaccine option made specifically for us. Visit ncoa.org/flu to learn more and talk to your doctor about vaccine options for people 65 and older.
While many of the races have only one candidate, Marietta city voters have some choices to make with far-reaching impact.
And off this year, election is proving mere clues to who might win the race for the next presidential race.
Stay with us. This special election edition of WCMO News Center 15 starts right after this. Good evening, and thanks for joining us for tonight's election coverage on WCMO News Center 15. I'm Landon Santini.
And I'm Jared Ruffin.
Topping our news this election evening, the 2020 general election day is just 1 year away. The next presidential election will be held on Tuesday, November 3rd, 2020. The latest head-to-head polls show President Trump trailing Joe Biden and Elizabeth Warren, but the Democratic presidential nominee won't even be picked until the Democratic National Convention in Milwaukee in mid-July. It's unknown what impact, if any, the House impeachment inquiry will have on Trump's re-election bid and voter support.
But in states like Kentucky, where President Trump paid a visit Monday night, we might be getting some clues. While Kentucky is a solid red state, many pundits are wondering how Trump's impeachment inquiry will affect the state's governor race. CNN's Evan McMorris Santori reports.
Soren Norris has his work cut out for him. He's trying to persuade independent voters to cast their ballots for the Democrats in Kentucky.
Can you teach me the official door knocker knock, which is it's like a dunk 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 dunk. That's how you do it?
Yeah, well, you want it to be very firm and loud so they come to the door. But if you just do the straight loud, it sounds like a police knocking on the door. So that's why we do that.
So shaving a haircut, not a cop.
The gubernatorial election here is one of two governor's races taking place today, in addition to the high-profile battle for control of the Virginia state legislature.
The motion to reconsider is laid upon the table.
But this contest might be the first real look at how the politics of impeachment are playing out on the ground. The race could be decided by swing voters in working-class suburbs like this one in Louisville. Republican incumbent Matt Bevin is about as closely tied to President Trump as any politician in America. Soren is a professional organizer for the political arm of the AFL-CIO. He's trying to find votes for Democratic nominee Andy Beshear, and he's focusing his efforts on working-class, unaffiliated voters. President Trump won this state by nearly 30 points in 2016. He's still very popular here, which is why Governor Bevin was happy to host him at a rally Monday night.
How do you like having President Trump in Rupp Arena?
Soren's been on the ground for about 11 weeks, pounding the pavement in neighborhoods like this one. Bashir's supporters say they want to focus on health care and education. Those issues kept coming up, among other things.
And I like to see legalized casinos down here. We go across the river. If you want to gamble, people are going to gamble.
When Soren started here, there was no impeachment inquiry. He's not convinced it'll have any impact on this governor's race.
For this election, I don't think it's changed much. It's not really on the forefront of the typical voter's mind here in Kentucky. Again, they're focused on their kitchen table issues.
But the Bashir voters he encountered think differently.
Are Democrats helping you out by doing this impeachment thing right ahead of your gubernatorial election?
Probably not here in Kentucky, but I'm glad it's coming out.
Independent voter Marianne Truman still hasn't made up her mind about Tuesday's election. She voted for Bevin the last time, and she voted for Trump in 2016. But she's not excited about either of them anymore.
I'm not sure whether to vote Republican or Democrat because I don't like either one of them.
As the impeachment process takes over Washington, how it plays out at the ballot box is still anyone's guess.
Impeachment, whatever. They're going to do whatever they're going to do. And I just want somebody that's going to stand up for us.
The first test for the Democratic vying to win the party's presidential nomination is just 3 months away. So the top 10 contenders are focusing on each other's policies and engaging in some heated attacks. CNN's Arlene Saenz reports.
With the Iowa caucuses 91 days away, Joe Biden is intensifying his showdown with his progressive rivals.
It takes a lot more than plans. We're not electing the planner.
A pair of national polls released Sunday show Biden with a clear lead, while a third gives the former vice president a slight edge over Senator Elizabeth Warren, but within the margin of error. Recent polls in the first two nominating states also find a much closer contest. As the 2020 race tightens, Biden is challenging the Democratic Party's progressive wing, preaching a pragmatic approach to governing.
But they all talk about how, Joe was always able to get big things done across the aisle. But things have changed. Can't do that anymore. Well, folks, if we can't do that anymore, we're in real trouble.
One frequent target for Biden, Medicare for All, the proposal written by Bernie Sanders and backed by Warren. Biden's campaign calling Warren's recent plan to pay for the policy mathematical gymnastics and unrealistic.
I just think getting that plan through, even a Democratic Congress, would be difficult.
As she defended her plan, Warren leveling her own critique of Biden.
If anyone wants to defend keeping those high profits for insurance companies and those high profits for drug companies and not making the top 1% pay a fair share in taxes and not making corporations pay a fair share in taxes, then I think they're running in the wrong presidential primary.
That comment prompting the former vice president to push back.
Some of the opponents want to very much characterize views in terms of whether you're thinking big, and if you criticize something that you think is outlandish, you must be a Republican. Ladies and gentlemen, the vision I have for this country, there's nothing small about it.
Also in Iowa this weekend, Pete Buttigieg, who's seen a boost in recent polls and is pitching himself as a pragmatic alternative to Biden.
I didn't just come here to end the era of Donald Trump. I'm here to launch the era that must come next.
The top candidates will square off in another debate later this month.
Meanwhile, a new poll shows President Trump could win key battleground states once again. It surveyed that 6 states Mr. Trump won by slimmest margins: Michigan, Arizona, Florida, North Carolina, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. The New York Times and the Marietta College poll found that in hypothetical matchups against top Democratic candidates, it's virtually a dead heat, including the 4 states that Obama won twice. CNN's Kung La is on the ground in one of these battleground states, Wisconsin, where it's already a daily fight for every possible vote.
Let's do this, Wisconsin. Let's turn it blue, and we've got a year from now to do that.
The 2020 battle for Wisconsin starts now.
Hi, good morning. We'll get you a clipboard and some lip.
Democratic foot soldiers fanning out across the Badger State.
Are people talking about impeachment here?
It's not what you're hearing at the coffee shops. It's not what I'm hearing when I'm at the hardware store.
A year from Election Day, this is a door-to-door mission to find out what matters most to voters here.
My name is Trevor. So what's important to you in this election?
Jobs and environment especially.
Do you feel that it is a house-to-house battle?
It is, completely. You know, here you have a community that is in a county that voted for President Obama and also Donald Trump.
Racine, a swing county in a critical swing state. President Trump won Wisconsin by fewer than 23,000 votes. We meet Democrat Bruce Dunn.
How long did you work for Chrysler?
36 years and 2 weeks. It's not too many jobs like that now.
He's lived Racine's ups and downs. During Trump's term, he's seen some jobs come back. Dunn cares most about the economy and health care.
What about impeachment? You didn't mention impeachment.
Well, I kind of don't like the impeachment. You know, the people that's on this side, I don't think they're going to jump ship because of it.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Unlike the Democrats, Wisconsin Republicans are talking about impeachment. This Racine Packers and Politics Party is one of the 150 GOP events in Wisconsin just this week.
These Republican people are very enthused.
Is impeachment then helping you or helping the Democrats?
I think it's definitely helping the Republican Party right now. I say go for it. Go, bring it on.
We're just digging in our heels deeper to fight what they're going to do, and we will do it by voting.
Hi, my name's Alicia. I'm with the Waukesha County Democratic Party.
But driving Democrats, the bitter sting of 2016 and the determination to not have it happen again.
If I can convince at least one, maybe two, every time I talk and I take a packet out, that's going to sway an election.
We're talking and it's snowing out.
I'm going to keep doing it through the snow. I've done it through worse. We're a swing state. We've been a swing state, but we can swing back.
Of course, Election Day is an important day, but it's also a special day for an American favorite, donuts. Donut Day today. These not so good for you snacks are so good, in fact, that Americans eat 10 billion donuts a year. That's about 31 donuts per person. The signature hole in the middle is said to have begun to help the donuts cook more evenly. Another fun fact, there are actually 2 National Donut Days. The other one is the first Friday in June. That day honors the Salvation Army lassies who served the pastry to soldiers during World War I. Check your local bakery or coffee shop to see what special deals they may have. It's also right about now, it's not donut time. It's time to check on the numbers coming in from the Board of Elections. And here's what we have for the race for Marietta Mayor.
So right about now, we have Harley Nolan polling at 34%, Joshua Slicker leading right now with 41%, and Joe Matthews right now at 25%.
Marietta City Council third ward, we have Bill Gossett leading the polls at 61%, and Steve Thomas for the Democratic Party falling behind with a 39% count of the votes.
And for the Marietta School Levy, for we have 43%, and then against we have 57%.
Well, that's good numbers, would you say?
No, not too bad. I mean, if you go ahead, it seems like not all the numbers are in. We're still counting. And,
well, I guess we'll just have to keep counting until we got all of them accounted for. But when we come back, we'll have a more in-depth look at the local races we're covering this evening.
And we'll have even more updates on the numbers from the Board of Elections.
So stay with us.
I never chew tobacco.
I don't drink much.
Never smoked a cigarette in my life.
HPV. Isn't that about cervical cancer?
What does that have to do with oral cancer?
HPV? Didn't know that.
Hey, Major, did you get your flu vaccine yet? Make that your mission for today.
Did you say
Mission? Let's do this. With the flu season coming up, we all have to help protect ourselves by getting the flu vaccine. If you're over 65 like me, you gotta even be more careful. Look out!
Our immune system may not be as strong as it used to be, so we have to do everything we can to keep the flu from catching up with us.
Educating yourself about your flu vaccine options is important. It's also really easy. So ask about your vaccine options, because if you're a tough guy like me, you may need a tough vaccine.
The flu can aggravate other conditions, so make it your mission to get the right flu shot for your age.
Lee, is that you? Did you complete your mission?
Oh, you mean the flu shot? No sweat. Visit the National Council on Aging at ncoa.org/flu to learn more about vaccine options for people 65 and older.
My Marietta.
My Marietta.
My Marietta.
My Marietta.
My home away from home.
My stepping stones for the future.
My Marietta Network.
My performing.
At Marietta College, the professors are here for you more than just your classes. They want to help you succeed in both school and your career because they really care about you as a person. And that's why I can call my professors my friends. And that's why they're part of my Marietta Network.
I enjoy being here at Marietta College with all the kind of things that you get to do with mass media. You get to work around with the community, whether it be the elections that happen or with sports. You get to work on radio and format your own kind of show, whichever way you'd like to do it. And you even get to work on live television here. I mean, there's nothing more you could really ask for if you're interested in broadcasting or doing anything that involves mass media here at Marietta. It's a fun experience and I love it.
Marietta College provides me with state-of-the-art facilities. Also, while heading to class, it is like taking a stroll in the park. I've absolutely fallen in love with the campus.
At Marietta College, everybody cares about each other. We all say hi and smile when we see each other. My professors really know me and they care about my success. And I get to perform a lot here at the theater, and I get to sing, and I get to play in any bands that I want to. It's great.
Welcome back. This election, voters have 3 candidates to choose from for Marietta's mayor, and all 3 have been quite involved in local politics for years. Current mayor and independent candidate Joe Matthews has served as mayor for several terms, totaling 20 years. Before he ran as a Democrat, this race he is running as an independent for the first time. Matthews previously won 5 past general elections, serving between 1992 and 2003, and then again 2 terms concluding at the end of this year.
The Democratic candidate, Harley Nolan, previously served 4 terms as an at-large councilman and the chairman of the council's Lands, Building, and Parks Communities and Planning Zones, Annexation, and Housing Committees. Nolan is also a local businessman. The current president of the council, another local business person, Josh Licker, is serving his 6th year as president of the city council following an appointed term in 2011 to the council at large by the county's Republican Party. While the candidates are familiar faces in the city government, they don't share philosophies, the structure of the mayor's office, and how it works with the city council, how the city works with the county, and what Marietta might look like in the future. were some of the topics debated during this election season.
While all city council seats are up for election, we have one contested city council race this year. For Marietta City Council 3rd Ward, one candidate is the incumbent Democrat Steve Thomas, and the second is small business owner and Republican Bill Gossett. Marietta's 3rd Ward covers a diverse range in housing and business interests, but common complaints outside of the most viable problems on the 3rd Street Muskingum Drive section of town are the reports of stormwater concerns and blight. Thomas is seeking a 5th term on council. Gossett is running for the very first time. While the ballot for Marietta voters was crowded with candidates for local office, many of those races have only one candidate. Here are the uncontested races for Marietta city government.
Susan Vessels, Republican president of the city council.
Michael Scales, Democratic Marietta City Council 1st Ward. Also, Michael McCulley, Democratic Marietta City Council 2nd Ward. Jeffrey Skinnell, Democratic Marietta City Council 4th Ward.
William Farnsworth, Democratic Marietta City Council at Large. And Cassidy Schoaf, Republican Marietta City Council at Large. Susan E. Boyer, Democratic Marietta City Council at Large. Russell Garrison, Marietta City School Board of Education. Bill Hutchinson, Marietta City School Board of Education.
Sherry J. Hess, Republican Auditor, and of course we've also got Paul G. Bertram, the 3rd Republican Director of Law. In addition to the contested and uncontested races we have for city government of the ballot, Marietta City School District is asking the community to support a $55 million levy proposal that would replace all the system's aging buildings with a single new campus.
The goal of the bonds issue is to provide a 21st century education for Marietta's children. MCS is prepared to develop a first-of-its-kind educational model that includes a K-12 campus located next to Washington State's Community College.
Washington County voters experienced new voting technology this year. While people who love paper can still request to use a paper ballot, all others were treated to a streamlined voting experience.
The new UNC devices are completely electronic, slightly larger than a desktop computer, and eject a paper copy of the completed ballot so voters can check them to be sure they are correct. In fact, the Deputy Director of the Washington County Board of Elections, Peggy Byers, says that in addition to being cheaper, the UNC machines are more accurate than paper ballots.
Well, we're not the only ones with new machines. Board of Elections all over the nation are also implementing new technology for elections. In Pennsylvania, they will get their first real-life test today. During Pennsylvania's general election, Nikki Kreese has more.
Election Eve is a busy time at the Union County Government Center near Lewisburg. Employees are getting ready for Tuesday's general election, but this time will be a little different. Union County has new voting machines.
When they are finished with their selections on the screen, a ballot will be printed out at their touch of the screen.
Last year, Governor Tom Wolf said all of Pennsylvania's 67 counties need to update their voting machines and have them in place by the 2020 primary election. Union County spent $700,000 on its new voting machines. A paper ballot prints out and must be fed through a scanner on these new machines.
Get the ballot and do not leave the polling location without casting your ballot in through the scanner into the ballot box.
Since the machines are so new, some of the company's representatives will be on hand during Election Day to make sure things run smoothly.
This younger generation knows about tablets and stuff, and so I don't think it'll be a problem for them.
Linda D'Antonio is a judge of elections in White Deer Township. She feels prepared.
We had 2.5 hours of good training, and then this past Saturday we had more training, and I keep reading my instructions.
Counties in Pennsylvania must choose new voting systems by the end of this year. The new voting machines must be in place by the 2020 primary election. Just last week, Governor Wolf approved $90 million in state funding to help counties pay for all these new voting machines.
Well, speaking of casting votes, it's now time to check on the numbers coming from the Board of Elections. And here's what we have for the race for Marietta Mayor. Let's see here. We've got Harley Noland, who with a total of 479 votes at 31%. Joshua D. Schiller for the Republican Party, currently in the lead with 657 votes. And our current mayor, Joe Matthews, running independently with a total of 27% of the vote and a total of 425 votes.
For the Marietta City Council 3rd Ward, Bill Gossett, Republican, has 176 votes at 61%. And the incumbent, Steve Thomas, Democrat, with 112 votes at 39%.
For Marietta's mayor, we also... Oh, wait, we already read these. They're still lovely numbers, and it's still true. Harley Noland for the Democratic Party is still at 31%. And now for the Marietta School Levy, we have 1,281 votes in favor of the levy with 43% of the vote. And it seems like an overwhelming majority is against the levy with a total of 1,703 votes at 57%. Well, when we come back, we'll revisit our election preview program that we recorded this past month, contested race candidates' statements,
as well as a pitch from Marietta School Superintendent.
So stay with us.
Where are we?
We are at Marietta College.
This is where we live, at Marietta College.
November is No Shaver Month at City of Hope. That means throughout November, to raise awareness about prostate cancer, City of Hope is urging men to stop shaving and get screened. But here's my problem. When I grow out my beard, I end up like this. I mean, have you ever? And you know how long this took me? What do I have? A couple of little hairs here? I mean, man, it's useless. How about this? How about this? Very Lincoln-esque, don't you think? How about this? Oh, you put them. Well, that's not the way I heard it. For all you men watching, do what I can't. Let your beards grow. And while you're at it, get screened. No shaver with City of Hope. Grow it, show it, know it.
Meet Candace. This senior basketball player loves to spend time hanging out before class with her best friend and education major, Shelby. Shelby knows the best place to study is at the Kalaki Cafe, where she can compare notes with baseball player Ryan and get a great cup of coffee, too. In the off-season,